You've tried to do the right thing. You've swapped out chips for almonds, reached for walnuts over cookies, even added a sprinkle of chia to your morning oatmeal, all in the name of heart health. But here's what no one tells you. Not all nuts are heart-friendly. In fact, some of the most popular ones, the ones you see in every grocery store aisle, the ones stamped with misleading healthy labels, may quietly be increasing your risk of heart disease, inflammation, and even irregular heartbeat. For seniors over 60, the line between food that heals and food that harms grows thinner. And nuts, those innocent little powerhouses, sit right on that line. The truth is, your body has changed. What supported your heart in your 40s doesn't always serve you now. Your metabolism is slower, your arteries less forgiving, and your immune system no longer sweeps away dietary mistakes like it used to. This means even small daily habits, like a handful of the wrong nuts, can lead to big consequences over time. You might not feel it right away, but over months and years, the impact builds silently. Your blood pressure creeps upward, your cholesterol numbers stall, and fatigue sets in without warning. And still, you're told you're eating healthy. But here's the quiet miracle. Some nuts, just 4 specific kinds, don't just avoid harm. They actively work with your heart. They help clear out cholesterol, lower dangerous inflammation, and even support healthy rhythm and blood flow. And they do it naturally, gently, and consistently, exactly what the aging heart needs. The secret isn't avoiding all nuts. It's knowing which to embrace and which to leave behind. Because the body after 60 doesn't need complication, it needs clarity, simplicity, nourishment that's aligned with where you are now. So let's begin there. Let's pull back the curtain on the snack drawer. Because the difference between waking up with energy or waking up with tightness in your chest might just be sitting in that small bowl by your favorite chair. And once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. You won't want to. This is the beginning of your heart's return to strength. You don't always feel it happening, but every day your blood carries the memory of what you eat. And when it comes to walnuts, that memory can be healing. Few foods deliver the kind of consistent protective impact that walnuts offer to the aging heart. Rich in alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3, they work quietly behind the scenes to soothe inflammation and support flexible, open arteries. For seniors, this matters deeply because stiff arteries are dangerous ones. They increase the workload on your heart with every beat, but walnuts help reverse that trend, one handful at a time. The real beauty of walnuts isn't just their nutrients, it's their rhythm. Eaten regularly, even just a small daily amount, 7 halves studies say, can lower LDL cholesterol, reduce triglycerides, and even help keep your heartbeat steady. That's not a claim from a glossy label. That's from decades of cardiovascular research. Walnuts don't force change, they invite it, gently, predictably. Which is exactly what an older heart craves. Not sudden swings, but gradual, sustainable healing. You may have heard that walnuts are high in fat. That's true, but what matters is the type of fat. Walnuts carry the kind of fat that actually clears cholesterol, not clogs it. They help the lining of your blood vessels stay smooth, not sticky. And that difference, microscopic as it may seem, translates into real outcomes. Fewer palpitations, less shortness of breath, more ease when climbing stairs. You feel it not as a jolt, but as a soft return to balance, to feeling more like yourself again. If you've ever wondered why, despite eating right, your blood pressure still rises or your heart skips a beat, you're not alone. Many seniors unknowingly eat foods that sabotage their progress, but walnuts are not one of them. They are among the rare few that ask nothing from your body and give everything back. Quiet protectors, reliable allies. Start there. Just a few each day, no drama, just strength, steadily rebuilding, one heartbeat at a time. They don't get the same attention as almonds or walnuts. They're not headliners. But pistachios deserve a permanent place in the pantry of anyone serious about heart health, especially after 60. These tiny green gems offer something unique, a powerful combination of plant-based sterols, potassium, and L-arginine that directly supports cardiovascular function. While some nuts help passively, pistachios act. They relax blood vessels. improve circulation, even reduce the stiffness that naturally creeps into your arteries with age. They're not just snacks, they're quiet medicine disguised as something delicious. The beauty of pistachios is how quickly their benefits begin to show. In clinical trials, seniors who added a modest handful, just 1 to 2 ounces a day, saw measurable drops in both systolic and diastolic blood pressure. Why? Because pistachios support the endothelium, the thin layer lining your arteries. When this layer is strong and flexible, blood flows freely. Your heart doesn't have to work as hard. And in a body that's older, every ounce of efficiency matters. You don't just lower numbers on a chart, you feel lighter, clearer, more capable in your everyday moments. Unlike heavily salted or roasted varieties you might find in convenience stores, raw or lightly roasted pistachios without added sodium are what your body truly needs. The goal isn't just taste, it's integrity. Your heart can't afford hidden salt or inflammatory oils. What it needs is the natural, unprocessed version of this ancient nut. That's where the healing is. That's where the calm in your chest and clarity in your head begins. You'll notice it in the mornings. The stiffness gone, the breath easier, the day welcoming you instead of challenging you. Too often, the foods that nourish us best don't shout. Pistachios whisper. But they do so with power. If walnuts are the foundation, pistachios are the scaffolding, the supportive structure that holds your heart up through long days and restless nights. Add them gently into your routine. Trust their rhythm. Your body will remember. And soon your heart will respond, not with noise, but with strength. They don't crunch like almonds. They're not sweet like cashews. In fact, they're barely even noticed once blended into a smoothie or stirred into oatmeal. But flax seeds, small as they are, offer something extraordinary, especially for a heart that's aged, weathered, and yearning for steadiness. These seeds are the richest plant source of omega-3 fatty acids, particularly alpha-linolenic acid, which reduces inflammation at its root. And inflammation, more than cholesterol or sugar, is what often erodes the heart's resilience over time. Flax seeds don't just support the heart, they defend it from within. What makes flax seeds especially powerful for seniors is how gently they work. Their fiber content slows digestion just enough to keep blood sugar stable, a vital need for anyone managing diabetes or insulin resistance. And stable blood sugar means stable blood pressure, calmer energy, and fewer irregular spikes that leave you breathless or lightheaded. Studies show that 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed per day can lower systolic blood pressure by up to 10 millimeters of mercury. That's not a minor shift. That's the kind of change that can move someone away from the edge of risk and back toward peace. It's crucial, though, to consume them correctly. Whole flax seeds often pass through the digestive system untouched. But ground flax seeds, freshly milled or bought pre-ground and stored in the fridge, release their full power. You don't need a complicated ritual, a scoop into yogurt, a swirl into soup, even a sprinkle on cooked vegetables. What matters is consistency, a small daily rhythm, because your heart doesn't need a grand overhaul, it needs quiet, dependable acts of nourishment. Don't be fooled by their size. Don't let their plainness deceive you. These humble seeds offer a profound gift. They thicken the protective lining around your heart. They reduce arterial stiffness. They help your body release less cortisol, the stress hormone that quietly ages you. And above all, they give you back something that often slips away in the later decades: control. Flax seeds won't cure everything, but they'll help you stop feeling at the mercy of your body. And that on its own is a powerful beginning. There's a kind of stillness that comes after eating almonds, not from the crunch or the flavor, but from what they do behind the scenes. For the senior heart, constantly working against decades of wear and tear, almonds offer a quiet strength. They are rich in magnesium, a mineral many older adults are unknowingly deficient in, yet desperately need. Magnesium doesn't just support muscle health, it calms the electrical system of the heart itself. It helps regulate rhythm, lower stress-induced blood pressure, and reduce the frequency of skipped or fluttering beats. Almonds also bring with them a powerful combination of heart-protective monounsaturated fats, vitamin E, and fiber. This trio works together like a cleaning crew inside your arteries. reducing oxidation, improving cholesterol ratios, and easing the workload on your heart. In fact, seniors who consume almonds regularly often report not just better numbers on their blood tests, but better sleep, steadier energy, and reduced anxiety. That's not a coincidence. It's the internal system relaxing, finally, after years of tension. It's important, though, to eat almonds wisely. A handful a day, about 15 to 20 unsalted, raw, or dry roasted almonds, is ideal. More than that can lead to excess calories, and flavored varieties often come coated in sodium or sugar, which undermine their benefits. Think of them not as a snack, but as a supplement, a form of daily medicine wrapped in crunch, something you gift your heart, not just your taste buds. You'll start to notice the difference in the subtle ways: less tightness in your chest, fewer restless nights, and more calm during moments that used to spike your blood pressure. The truth is, the older heart needs support but not stress. It needs nourishment, not novelty. Almonds provide that. They don't demand change. They reinforce what's already there: your resilience, your endurance, your quiet capacity to keep going. They meet your body exactly where it is. And for many seniors, that kind of respectful nourishment isn't just helpful, it's healing. Keep them close. Let them be part of your rhythm. Because the journey back to strength begins not with force, but with peace. They taste indulgent, don't they? Buttery, soft, easy to overeat. Cashews often carry the label of a healthy snack, and in moderation for younger bodies they can be. But for seniors, especially those managing heart conditions, cashews can quietly work against the very stability you're trying to rebuild. High in saturated fat, cashews contribute to a lipid profile that nudges LDL cholesterol upward, not down. For a heart already working overtime, that gentle nudge can eventually feel like a push in the wrong direction. Even more concerning is how deceptively easy it is to overconsume them. A single small handful can contain nearly 20% of your daily saturated fat limit. And when roasted in oils or salted heavily, as most store-bought versions are, those numbers climb even faster. For someone over 60 whose arteries may already be narrowing, that influx of unhealthy fat and hidden sodium can tighten the passageways just a little more. You might not feel it right away, but the impact builds slowly. Tighter chest, heavier breath, rising blood pressure over months. Cashews also lack the protective omega-3s and plant sterols that walnuts or pistachios provide. They are dense in calories but sparse in the nutrients that fight inflammation or support arterial flexibility. For a younger body, that imbalance might be absorbed. For a senior, it often leaves the heart more vulnerable, stressed without warning, reactive instead of steady. And perhaps most painfully, it often leads to confusion. You thought you were choosing something good, but instead your heart is left working harder to process what seemed like a healthy habit. It's not about banning cashews forever, it's about knowing the cost and making choices from clarity, not assumption. If you do eat them, keep it rare, keep it small, and always choose raw, unsalted versions. But in a world of nut options, there are better allies for your heart. Don't let a creamy texture fool you. What your heart needs is strength, not softness disguised as support. Now that you know, you can choose differently, you can choose wiser, and your heart, whether it says it aloud or not, will thank you. They're rich, luxurious, almost too smooth. Macadamia nuts are often praised for their flavor and touted as a better fat choice, but the truth, especially for seniors, is more complicated. Yes, they contain monounsaturated fats, but they also come with an exceptionally high fat-to-protein ratio, making them one of the most calorie-dense nuts available. For an aging metabolism, which naturally slows with every passing decade, that calorie load adds up quickly. And if your body can't burn it, it stores it, often in the very places that place strain on your heart. What's more troubling is the satiety illusion macadamias create. You eat a few and still feel light, so you keep going. But unlike almonds or walnuts, which provide meaningful fiber and protein to balance their fat, macadamias offer less of both. That means less fullness, less stabilization, and more risk of overindulgence. For a heart already contending with high triglycerides or creeping cholesterol, this matters. Every extra gram of fat consumed without fiber to escort it gently through the system becomes a potential burden, a silent tax on your circulation. Sodium also becomes an issue. Most commercial macadamias are salted, often heavily, and roasted in oils that oxidize under heat. That combination becomes a triple threat: fat-heavy, salt-dense, and low in counterbalancing nutrients. The result? Your blood vessels tighten, your fluid retention rises, and your heart beats harder to compensate. Many seniors feel this subtly: swelling in the ankles, occasional shortness of breath, or sudden fatigue. They may blame age, but sometimes it's the nuts, or more accurately, the wrong nuts. Macadamias are not inherently evil, but they're not heart-forward either, and after 60, your nutrition must serve a purpose greater than flavor alone. Every food must work with your body, not against it. So if macadamias have made a regular appearance in your diet, now is the time to reassess, reduce them, replace them. And remember, pleasure in eating is still possible, but real satisfaction? That comes from knowing your food is nourishing the very organ that gives you life. Let your choices reflect that truth. Let your plate protect your pulse. They seem harmless enough. Large, creamy, just a couple per serving. Brazil nuts are often praised for their selenium content, and it's true. This trace mineral is vital for heart function and antioxidant protection. But here's the hidden danger. Brazil nuts contain such extraordinarily high levels of selenium that even a small excess can tip the balance from helpful to harmful, especially for seniors. Your body only needs about 55 micrograms of selenium a day. A single Brazil nut can contain up to 90. 2 or 3, and you've overshot the mark by more than double. When selenium builds up in the body over time, it doesn't just exit politely. It can become toxic. Symptoms often start subtly: fatigue, dizziness, gastrointestinal discomfort, but can progress to far more serious conditions, including irregular heartbeat, nerve dysfunction, and, in extreme cases, heart failure. Seniors are especially vulnerable because the kidneys, which help filter excess minerals, naturally become less efficient with age. What once passed through easily can now linger, accumulate, and do quiet damage. And all from something that looked like a health food. What's most deceptive is how Brazil nuts are marketed as a simple fix for selenium deficiency or a natural antioxidant. And while both may be technically true, they ignore the deeper reality that seniors require precision, not generalizations. Your heart is not a place for guessing games. It's not about cutting Brazil nuts completely. It's about never eating them mindlessly. One nut once or twice a week may be more than enough. But handfuls, daily habits, that's when the risk creeps in, slowly, invisibly, until it shows up on an EKG or in an unexplained arrhythmia. You deserve better than accidental harm disguised as health. And your heart, so faithful for so many years, deserves nutrients that honor its complexity, not overload it. Brazil nuts aren't evil, but they're powerful, too powerful for casual snacking. Let them go, or at the very least, treat them with caution. The goal is not just to eat healthily, it's to eat wisely in a way that aligns with your body's needs now. That wisdom is your greatest shield. Use it. Now that the myths have been cleared, let's turn toward the truth, because not all nuts are created equal, and 4 of them stand as pillars of strength for the senior heart. We've already met them: walnuts, pistachios, flax seeds, and almonds. Each carries a unique gift. Each supports the aging body in a specific necessary way, and together they form a kind of symphony, balancing cholesterol, soothing inflammation, regulating rhythm, and restoring energy. They are not trends. They are time-tested allies, ready to support your heart through its most vulnerable years. Walnuts are the foundation. Their omega-3 content doesn't just lower inflammation, it protects against arrhythmias and helps blood vessels stay open and responsive. Pistachios come in next with their vascular support, rich in potassium and plant sterols that help lower blood pressure and improve circulation. Then come flax seeds, tiny giants that regulate not only your cholesterol but your cortisol, dialing down stress that can silently tax your heart every hour of the day. And finally, almonds offer calm strength, gently delivering magnesium and vitamin E to regulate heartbeat and relax the body. What makes these 4 special isn't just their nutrient profiles, it's their synergy with the senior body. They digest cleanly, support stable energy, and avoid the pitfalls of sodium-saturated fats or excess calories. They don't confuse the system, they restore it. And when consumed in balance, just small daily amounts, they create a protective environment where your heart can thrive rather than just survive. You won't feel it overnight, but over time you'll notice easier mornings, steadier breath, energy that lasts, peace that lingers. Aging doesn't mean giving up, it means tuning in. And when you begin to see food as a form of support, not punishment or confusion, you return to the most sacred form of self-care. These 4 nuts are not magic, but they are medicine, slow, steady, dependable medicine. Let them in, let them do their quiet work. Your heart is ready to feel strong again. These aren't just snacks. They are part of your comeback, part of your healing. And it begins now. You may feel like you've been misled. For years you followed the advice, low fat, low sodium, high fiber, heart healthy labeled snacks. And still the numbers crept up. The weight didn't move. The fatigue deepened. And your trust, it took a hit. Because how can you give so much effort and still feel like you're losing ground? But now, as you stand on clearer ground, understanding which nuts to trust and which to set aside, something deeper can begin. The rebuilding of trust, not just in food, but in your body's ability to recover. It starts with awareness. Every time you choose a handful of walnuts instead of a salted mix, you're doing more than making a better choice. You're reminding your body that you're listening now. Every time you stir flax seeds into oatmeal or reach for almonds instead of cookies, you're re-establishing a rhythm of care. That matters, because the body responds to consistency. It doesn't need perfection, it needs proof over time that you're working with it. And slowly it responds through steadier blood pressure, clearer mornings, fewer heart flutters, and more moments of calm. And with every shift, a subtle healing takes place, not just in your arteries, but in your mindset. Food stops being confusing. The pantry no longer feels like a minefield. You begin to trust that the effort you're making is aligned with your needs, not based on trends or outdated rules. You stop chasing what worked for someone else and begin honoring what works for you now in this season of life. That kind of trust doesn't come from a supplement bottle, it comes from lived experience, from your body whispering, yes, that helped, in its own quiet ways. You deserve to feel that alignment again, to know that every bite either builds you or breaks you, and to be on the side of building. This journey doesn't require extremes, it requires clarity, patience, a little courage to let go of what no longer serves you, and the willingness to let food be something sacred again. Because at this stage of life, the smallest shifts often make the biggest difference. You're not behind. You're ready. And your heart, so patient all these years, is ready too. Your body doesn't speak the way it used to. The signals have changed. What once felt like hunger may now feel like fatigue. What once was just an ache might now be a warning. After 60, the body speaks in subtler tones, quieter cues, longer feedback loops. And that means the foods you used to trust may no longer give you what you need, especially when it comes to your heart. That's why understanding which nuts heal and which ones harm isn't just nutritional advice, it's a form of learning your body's new language. Some seniors say, but I don't feel anything after I eat, and that's part of the shift. You don't always get immediate feedback. The response builds slowly. Cashews don't cause chest pain the first day, they just add hidden fat to your bloodstream. Brazil nuts don't cause heart arrhythmia after one serving, but over months, too much selenium alters how your heart behaves. And almonds, pistachios, walnuts, they don't give you a sugar high or a caffeine buzz. Their healing is quiet, subtle, and that's exactly why they work for you now. When you begin to tune into these shifts, something else happens. You stop fearing food. You start sensing which ones lift you and which ones weigh you down. You notice your morning pulse. You sense your breathing ease. You realize that your joints feel less swollen. Your head feels clearer. Your sleep is less broken. These aren't coincidences. They're messages. Proof that the body, though older, though slower, is still deeply responsive, still capable of renewal. It just requires different care than it did decades ago. This is your invitation to listen more deeply, not with suspicion, but with curiosity. The foods that work now aren't the flashiest. They're not marketed with glowing promises, but they work with your biology, not against it. That's why a small bowl of the right nuts can do what medication sometimes can't: help you feel safe in your own body again. It's not just about feeding the heart, it's about relearning how to hear it. And from this place of quiet understanding, everything changes. There's a reason your body craves routine, especially as you age. The heart, like the brain, finds comfort in patterns. It thrives on consistency. And when your daily habits reflect a steady rhythm of nourishment, your heart begins to trust again. That's why it's not just what you eat, but when and how regularly that matters. Having a few walnuts once a week won't shift your trajectory, but a small daily habit, repeated with care, becomes a signal to your body. I'm here for you. I'm not giving up. That's when the healing deepens. Think of it this way. Every time you choose a handful of almonds instead of an evening dessert, you're reinforcing a loop of support. Every morning you stir flax seeds into yogurt. You're not just feeding yourself, you're weaving protection into your bloodstream. And every time you skip the salted trail mix or pass on the cashews, you're telling your body that you've learned, that you're making new choices not out of fear, but from wisdom. Because true heart healing doesn't come from dramatic overhauls. It comes from quiet, repeated alignment. That's the secret no one talks about. The body loves repetition, especially the aging body. Every repeated choice becomes a cue for repair. Your cholesterol doesn't drop after one good meal. Your blood pressure doesn't stabilize after a single week. But over time, 3 weeks, 5 weeks, 2 months, your cells begin to shift. The damage begins to soften. The arteries begin to open. You don't need to feel it happening to trust that it is. The numbers will change, yes, but more importantly, you will feel the change. More energy, fewer symptoms, deeper sleep. So build a ritual around it. Place your nuts in a small glass jar on the counter. Add them to the same snack plate each afternoon. Let the routine be gentle, almost sacred. Not rushed or random, but intentional. This is how seniors reclaim strength. Not by chasing complicated diets, but by anchoring into small, powerful patterns. Because in the end, what repairs the heart isn't just nutrients, it's consistency, reassurance, and a quiet message to your body. I'm not just surviving anymore. I'm choosing to strengthen, one bite at a time. Sometimes the hardest part isn't starting something new. It's letting go of what once felt safe. That trail mix you've kept in the pantry for years, those roasted cashews you reach for while watching the evening news, that handful of Brazil nuts you thought were helping, they all come with emotional comfort. They're tied to memories, routines, even identity. But when you realize that comfort has been quietly costing your heart strength, it's time to reassess. Because not everything that feels familiar is good for you anymore. And that's not failure, that's evolution. Breaking up with harmful food habits isn't about shame, it's about honesty, about standing in the mirror and saying, my body needs something different now. It's looking at your snack drawer and asking, do these serve me or just soothe me? You're not giving up joy, you're making space for new forms of it, forms that don't leave your chest tight, your ankles swollen, your sleep interrupted. Releasing the foods that harm you is an act of protection. A decision to stop negotiating with danger, even when it's dressed as tradition. You might feel resistance at first. That's natural. Your brain remembers the dopamine rush of salt and fat. Your hands may instinctively reach for what once gave you pleasure. But over time, those impulses fade. Your body begins to associate the right foods with strength, ease, clarity. And the foods you once loved, they lose their hold. Because they no longer represent care, they represent compromise. And you've come too far for that. You've earned the right to stop compromising with what hurts you. This is where real freedom begins, not from restriction, but from realization that what you feed yourself, especially now, shapes not just your health, but your hope. Let go of what no longer supports your heart. It's not betrayal. It's a return to your deeper truth, one that says, I deserve food that heals. I deserve to feel safe in my own body again. This is your turning point, not with guilt, but with grace, not with force, but with choice. You're not losing anything. You're gaining everything, one decision at a time. It doesn't take $1,000 supplement. It doesn't require a gourmet kitchen. Sometimes the most healing thing for your heart is a small, quiet plate, a modest handful of almonds, a spoonful of flax seeds stirred into warm oats, a few pistachios in a napkin by your favorite chair, a gentle scatter of walnuts over steamed vegetables. Nothing flashy, nothing complicated, but when you begin to eat this way day after day, you start to feel something shift, not just in your chest, but in your mood, your rhythm, your sense of control. For seniors, every meal is more than just fuel. It's information. You're telling your body how to respond, what to prioritize, whether to fight inflammation or feed it, whether to raise your blood pressure or regulate it. When you build a plate that includes the 4 heart-strengthening nuts and excludes the ones that quietly sabotage you, you're giving your body a clear, loving signal. I'm paying attention now. I'm working with you, not against you. And that's when the healing begins to deepen. Not just biologically, but emotionally. A simple plate becomes a daily act of care. It says, I'm not waiting for a crisis. I'm choosing to change before one comes. That's power. That's wisdom, because many seniors don't feel empowered when it comes to food. The conflicting advice, the medical jargon, the frustration of trying and not seeing results, it can all make you feel like it's too late. But it's not. The research is clear. Seniors who shift their eating habits can lower their stroke risk, improve heart function, and even reverse early signs of heart disease, not by doing everything, just by doing the right things. So start with your plate. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait until the symptoms scare you. Don't wait for the doctor to say what you already know deep down. Your body is listening. Your heart is waiting. Let that small bowl of the right nuts be your daily medicine. Let it be your reminder that healing isn't reserved for the young. It belongs to the willing. And you right now have everything you need to begin. Not someday, today. You may not feel like it some mornings. The stiffness, the heaviness in your chest, the frustration of doing everything right and still feeling tired, it all adds up. It's easy to believe the damage is already done. That healing is behind you. But that isn't the truth. Your heart, that loyal muscle that has beaten for you since the moment you entered this world, is still listening, still learning, still responding to how you treat it. And that means no matter your age, no matter your numbers, your heart still has time to rebuild what was lost. Time to flush out the hidden inflammation that foods like flax seeds and walnuts can slowly dissolve. Time to soften the stiffness that pistachios and almonds can ease over weeks of steady nourishment. Time to beat more gently, more evenly, more confidently. Your heart isn't asking for miracles. It's asking for consistency, small daily decisions, less salt, less noise, more calm, more nutrients. It doesn't need you to be perfect. It just needs you to begin. And now you know how. You know the 4 nuts that support your healing and the 3 that can quietly set you back. You understand the role of timing, of routine, of listening to the body's newer, quieter language. You've learned that food isn't just fuel, it's instruction. And with every smart, gentle bite, you're teaching your heart how to feel safe again. That's no small thing. That's restoration. That's power. That's aging on your own terms. So let this be your new chapter. Let it begin not in fear, but in clarity. Your next trip to the store becomes a declaration. I know what I need now. Your next handful of walnuts becomes a ritual. I protect myself now. Your next breath, deeper and smoother, becomes the evidence my heart is responding. Because it is. And because you showed up, not just to learn, but to act. Healing takes time, but you still have time. And from this moment forward, you're no longer waiting for hope. You're building it, one bite, one day, one heartbeat at a time.